Are you looking for the best personal blenders? In this video we will look at some of the 4 best blenders on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Nutribullet Pro 900. I have come to rely heavily on my Nutribullet Pro. Though it's still much smaller than a full-size machine, it has the largest capacity of any personal blender on this list, meaning I can use it to whip up a salad dressing to keep in the fridge all week long, blend enough sauce to coat more than a full pound of pasta, and chop salsa for a generous bowl when friends come over. The 2 blending jars come with lids that turn them into storage containers, so I never have to decant into something separate if I'm saving the contents. The blades are powerful. I can throw parsley stems and whole cloves of garlic into a salsa verde and it blitzes them into oblivion. And the operating mechanisms are straightforward. I simply add all my ingredients to the jar, twist on the cap, attach that to the base, and press the whole thing down to blend. My hand acts as the power button, meaning I can easily pulse by pressing down and lifting up as needed. And the jar takes up hardly any space in my dishwasher. This is also the model most of the pros I talked to recommend. It's powerful enough to get through a lot of the same stuff as a Vitamix, says recipe developer and cookbook author Jess Damick, who uses hers for dips, sauces, dressings, and smoothies. I use it with a lot of frozen fruit, ice, and nuts, and it hasn't had a problem. Food writer and recipe developer Grace Elkis notes that she doesn't even have to worry about making sure her mostly liquid ingredients are at the bottom. Usually, this helps ensure that everything blends smoothly, but Elkis says the Nutribullet can wade through anything. Strategist managing editor Kelsey Schrader has been making smoothies weekly in hers for the past 6 months and says they get perfectly blended in less than a minute. It hasn't slowed down at all, she says. At number 2. Beast Mini Blender. The Beast is a particularly attractive personal blender. It has a cylindrical fluted jar and comes in quite a few pretty, muted colors, though somehow, I think it manages to escape the just for Instagram look of some other aesthetically minded kitchen products. Still, Elkis, who recently added one to her personal blender lineup, notes that other people always comment on the nice design when it sneaks into her social photos. She says the accessories are really nice. It doesn't feel like the jar you just blended in. I would never even consider transferring this one. And the jar has this cap that you can stick a straw right into, which I prefer to drink out of if I'm taking my smoothie in the car or even just into my office. The Beast operates with one button. If you press it, it pulses. If you hold the button down for a prolonged second, it will automatically blend for a minute, winding down and then back up several times over the duration to incorporate everything more evenly. Elkis does warn that it's not quite as responsive as her Nutribullet, so sometimes she has to scrape down the sides for chunkier, harder ingredients like frozen fruit to reach the blades. But once it gets going and everything is moving around, it's great, she says. At number 3. Magic Bullet Blender. The smaller and cheaper Magic Bullet is made by the same company as the Nutribullet. While its 250-watt motor isn't quite as powerful as the Nutribullet's 600 watts, a couple of experts told me it's a solid machine. Personal chef and recipe developer Jane Morgan has had hers for 4 years and says it's still going strong. I use it for smoothies, she says, but also for annoying prep work, like if I need a lot of minced garlic, or to make a mirepoix for bolognese, or to grate a ton of Parmesan. The machine comes with 2 jars, an 18-ounce and a 12-ounce, the latter of which Morgan says is useful for emulsifying dressings because the blades have a lot of contact with the ingredients. Strategist newsletter editor Ashley Wolfgang has been using a Magic Bullet nearly daily for the past decade. She replaced it recently with a new one as it finally wore out. She primarily uses it for smoothies and says it blends everything I throw in there super smoothly, including frozen fruits, in just about 30 to 45 seconds. At number 4. Zwilling Enfinigy Personal Blender. I have tested and loved the larger version of the Zwilling Enfinigy, so it's no surprise that the smaller model comes highly recommended by recipe developer Farida Sadigan. She used to rely on her mini Cuisinart food processor, but in the year that she's had the Zwilling, she has been turning to it more often for sauces and herb oils. It does the same thing but with a lot more power, she says. And whereas her Vitamix will take ingredients from full form to super smooth in a matter of seconds, this machine is more likely to leave a bit of texture, which is a plus for pestos and certain marinades. Sadagan appreciates the measurements on the side of the jar to help guide proportions, but otherwise says her favorite thing is that there aren't too many bells and whistles. It's just easy to use, she says. It has a designated smoothie setting that runs for a set cycle, and you can easily pulse by holding the dial to the left for as long as you want it to run.